This is Sheila, and welcome to my blog, Stamping Wishes. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and you're joining a video that we're doing a blog hop today. It's a Glitter Queens blog hop, and the theme this month is bags and tags, which was so much fun to do. And in addition to our bags and tags, I'm going to be doing some blog candy. So if you will leave your name and email address and some comment on my blog, then I will enter your name into a drawing. And let me show you what we're going to be giving away. We will be giving away the materials, or I'll be having a drawing for the materials to make this bag. Everything that you would see here will be available here, along with the tag supplies. Everything will be scored and ready for you to go. You'll just need to watch my blog how I did it, and you'll have you a complete set there. In addition to that, I'm giving away 2 6x6 of the designer paper. All is Bright, I think was what the name of it is, or let me double check it here just to make sure. I've been going through so much paper. All is Bright Designer Series. Yes, that's it. Okay, so be sure and leave your name and email address, and whoever is chosen, I'll email you and get your address to mail this right off to you. All right, so today, being that it's bag and tags, let's look over a bunch of tags. I love making tags, and I love making bags. This is a small bag that I would use for, a real small gift. But when I make ahead my bags and stuff, I like to lay them out like this, where that they're flat and they're ready to go and be used. I just have to use some of my tear and tape and punch my holes and put my ribbon in, or whatever I'm going to decide to do with it. And then I've always got some extra tags together, or if I need to, I'll make a quick little card that'll go with it. But here's some examples of some of the tags that I've made and had just so much fun with it, and they're so easy and quick to do. So definitely use your scraps of cardstock and your leftover scraps of DSP, and you can, and your stamp sets, and you can have a beautiful set of tags as well as bags. Okay, so today we're going to be making this particular bag, and it's made with 2 12x12 papers. So let's go ahead and get started on what materials you'll be needing. For this bag, we're going to use these 2 sheets of designer series paper, and I'll have all of the materials, the measurements, everything you need to make this on my blog. So be sure and click over there and check that out. The little bows that we made that I'm going to be putting to cover the holes, kind of like I did here. I don't know if you noticed that. I put some little bows and threw my string through there. That particular one I've done using the adhesive sheets and ran them through. I have a little bit left of it, but anyway, I ran them through, so we've already got that done. All I have to do is peel and stick them on. We'll be using the copper ribbon, and that will be our handles for the bag. We've got our copper and a piece of the Whisper White that we're going to make a tag out of. And let's see, we're going to be using the Technique with shimmery paint. This is our shimmery paint that's in our holiday catalog, and if you have not gotten yours, you really must get it, because there's so many techniques out there that you can use it for. But what I've done here, Don Griffith showed this, you fill one of your stamp pans with any choice of the shimmery paint, and then you stamp your actual stamps with it. And that's what we're going to do to accent our copper that's showing up in this designer paper, as well as our copper accents. We're using the stamp set Snow is Glistening. I'm going to use this particular stamp to give it the tag a little bit of a frosting on top, some side lines of the little snowflakes, and then a to and from. We'll keep it kind of simple. I used the All Presents Thinlit dies to make my bows with. I used that. And I think that covers it. So we'll be using also our punch for doing some of our corner rounding, and we'll be, let's see, what else will we be using? Our tag punch as well, so we'll be using that. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, one of the things you have to remember when you're scoring and these particular bags is, do you have a design that you're going to be using as your flip over edge? And if you do, then excuse the phone ring, it'll stop ringing here in a little bit. But anyway, you want to find your design so that your top measurement, that these will come down evenly. So this is going to be the outside of the bag, and I want this to come down like so. So in order for that to happen, I have to have the deer kind of upside down, okay? Because we're going to score at 3 inches on 3 sides, and then we're going to score at 2 inches on one side. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to have both of our papers turned to the correct way, and we'll do our scoring for just our top heading. And one of the things that I've been, let's make sure that I'm here in frame. One of the things that I've been doing is using our new tool. I just love this for scoring. And so let's get this all situated here. I had it upside down on myself. Okay, so we're going to score down this way because I want this to flip over, and that's going to be my heading. I'm going to go in here at 2 inches and come all the way down. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do 3 inches. 3 inches, and you can actually do these thinner if you don't want as thick of a edge bag as I'm doing here. You can make them really just about any size you want to, but I wanted more of a little solid little bag like so, because I'm going to be using them to give away Christmas cookies to our neighbors. So anyway, you might want to keep that in mind as far as what you want. Okay, we need to have our designer paper this way for my heading. So that one's going to be the 2 inch. And then we're going to turn it and do 3 inches. And 3 inches. And 3 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this aside. And the next thing we're going to do is to cut our pieces here so that it'll all fit together. So let's go ahead and burnish our score lines so that we can see better what's going to go on here. So this is one of my toppers. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here and burnish this real well. Okay. And then we can come over here, and again, this is going to be the inside. So I want to make sure that I've got a good solid in burnishing there, and let's go over here and burnish it, and then burnish this last one here. And as I mentioned, you can do just about any kind of measurement you want, depending on the purpose and size you want your outcome of your bag to be. So let's go ahead and burnish this score line and come through here. There it is. And there we go. Okay, so you need one of these that you're going to cut out the corner edges here. And what's nice about this, when you cut this out, you just find your score line and follow it up to the next score line, is you can save this, and you can either incorporate it in your tag or save it for making other tags for other bags. And either side can be used as a base for behind, you know, so some don't waste your scraps, they can be used. Okay, now on our next piece we won't be cutting out, we will just be cutting in and then letting those flap over into the closure of the bag. So we're going to go ahead and just go straight up and make sure again that you've got your 3-inch side and not your 2-inch, which is your ridge side. Okay, and so what's going to happen is we're going to be putting it together by taking this piece inside here. As you can see, that'll just adhere down here, and I'm going to use my tear and tape for it. And then we'll bring this up like so, and this will match up, and the other side is the same way, and then we'll put on our holes for our bags and everything else, our handles. So let's go ahead and put some tear and tape on this. And usually, if I have the time, I really kind of like to use my Tombow glue, but for the sake of it not having to wait for it to dry and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and use tear and tape today. But I like that extra little movement space so I can get a real nice squared corners and the like and get a fit, because if you're not careful when you lay down that tear and tape, it's going to stay exactly where you laid it. So you have to be a lot more careful lining up with your tear and tape. Well, let's see, get a piece of here. There we go. And here we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and line this up. And we want to line it up right at that fold line here, like so. Okay. All right, so then we're going to bring this in, like so, and then this one over to here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my tear and tape here, but before I do that, I do want to seal this down. Sometimes I will use a ribbon as a little guide there, which we could. This would be real pretty just to bring across here and give it a nice little finished edge, so we might do that. But first of all, let's go ahead and get this tacked down so that won't be flopping up on us. And let's go ahead and go down on the sides as well here. And just go down to your score lines. And I may speed up some of this so you don't have to watch me tape every little piece here. Make sure I have that right before Nope, I did not. Uh-oh. Well, we're going to have to improvise here. What we're going to do is my little scraps that I had from before, we're going to put here because I was using it backwards, and so now that adhesive's not there, so it'll just give us a little bit more extra support, because I want my adhesive on this area here. So we're going to go down here and across here, kind of make a U shape is where we want our tape at. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just love this designer paper. Stampin' Up! Has some of the prettiest stamping designer paper available. And when you see our new catalog coming out, you're going to see a bunch of more beautiful paper. Okay, so let's go ahead. This is the part that's going to come in here like so. So let's go ahead this time and do the right piece that we needed to have done. Okay. Well, on every side but the part of the tape. And don't try and get yourself stuck to your tape because your body oils will lessen the effectiveness of it. So we want to be careful with that. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go ahead and come up here, and we want to make sure that our pieces are even where this will come up nice and tight against it. And let me bring this over so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm lining it up across this edge and then across. This is what I'm talking about on this paper. You have to be careful that when it folds, it's going to stay wherever you put it. So make sure you're ready for that. Okay, so use your bone folder and come on in there and seal that off. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other side. We're going to come in here and square this off like so. Okay, and let's take off our adhesive. Okay, and then we've got this squared off. Go ahead and run your hands through there. Isn't that gorgeous? So quick and easy, so professional looking. Now if you wanted to, you could bend these sides in and give it a different look, but I want to keep it squared because these are being made right now for cookie giveaway. So let's go ahead now and decide on where we're going to place our holes so that we can line everything up. I like to use one of these tools for making my holes and everything, and since I'm using a thin ribbon, I'm going to use a smaller hole that's here, and I've got it lined up, so I like to be able to, this way I can keep it even wherever I put it. I'm just going to go ahead and bring my hole over here to give myself enough room for my bows to have spacing, and line it up to about the same over here. And do the same thing on the other side. I'm kind of being able to look down and lining up according to that. Okay, doing the same thing on this side, lining up. And if you have hole punches, they work too. I just particularly like that one because it has the gauge on it that keeps me from going over. So at this point, what we want to do is go ahead and, like I said, I use the copper paper, and then I use the adhesive sheet so that I'd have a sticky back, make it real easy to lay this down, and I want these coming at an angle. So there we go. I lined it up with the other hole, and I did punch a hole in the center of this when I was making these so that they'd be able to fit right over. So all I'm doing is taking my we call them pokey tools. They're piercing tools, but we like to affectionately call it a pokey tool. And isn't that gorgeous? Okay, let's go on this side and do the same thing. We want our back and front side looking equally beautiful. So let's get this last one, third one off here. And usually once you get, if you can get into one of them, they go fairly easily. And just make sure I don't go over the edge. Still have them angled. And our last one here, let's go ahead and pull the paper out on it. There we go. And again, trying to keep my head out of this, but I want to make sure that that one's going to have to come over a little bit down this way, or we'll go over the edge with it, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we've got, oops, some of the paper didn't come off behind here. Well, maybe some of the stickiness didn't come off. Let me make sure I've got everything peeled off that can be peeled off, but it looks like it. But I don't see stickiness here, so we're going to fix that real quick. I have my adhesive sheet, and I'm going to use my Snell adhesive and just go right over that part that wasn't wanting to stick and a little bit more extra. And then just run your finger over the slit areas and that'll get that excess glue off of there. Cause it to go in the back. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this back over here where we need it. Okay, gorgeous. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get our ribbon. And I kind of like bringing it out just as a centerpiece, you know, kind of like a centerpiece. You could bring them from the outside in if you wanted to, but I kind of like the look of it. And what I planned on doing was to tying me a knot like so, hopefully a couple of knots, and then I want to make sure I get it big enough, and then I wanted to fan, because this is that stretchy ribbon, and I wanted to fan it out. So while I'm doing this part, you kind of see what I'm doing on this first one. Now I'm going to speed up the rest of to make sure that, and let me make sure. Okay, I'm on my last little tie here, and what I like to do is probably tie about 3 knots at the very end. That helps make the knot big enough where it won't go back through the hole, or shouldn't go back through the hole. And if you prefer and you want to have your knots to the back, you can go ahead and put your knots to the back, and then you can use a piece of tape and tie like Scotch tape and go over your areas to secure it even more if you want to do it that way. So like I said, I kind of like that little knot in the front just to give a center embellishment for the bow. So whatever your preference would be. Let's see if we've got it big enough. Yep, looks good. Okay, and then you can, like I said, you can spread this out and give it kind of a circular motion if you play with it enough, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it on film here and take up your time, and we can always trim some of that as well. So let's go ahead and maybe trim off a few of those little wild hairs there. Okay, so now we've got our bag together, and we'll go ahead and work on our tag. But these are some cookies that I made a couple of days ago, so that's the purpose of them, is wanting to put them in a bag for the neighbors. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those in there and set this to the side, and let's go ahead and get our tag made up. Kind of doing this tag on the fly, just kind of going to use my imagination as we go, so hopefully it's all going to work out. I'm going to take, and this is that stamping spot that I use, and it's kind of looking like my stamping spot might be drying out. So let's go ahead and add a little bit more just to make sure we're in good order. And so what you do with these when they're empty or needing refills, you just put a little bit on the top, and then get your like your little spatula deal and rub that ink down into it and go back and forth and rubbing it down. And if you have any excess that doesn't go down into the pad, then you can remove that real easily by taking it back on the spatula and back into your shimmery paint. That way you don't waste anything. So looks like we got some that just doesn't want to go down there, so that's fine. We'll just go ahead and just remove that excess. And because this is a paint, you'll want to go ahead and clean up your tools right as you do it. So I've got a paper towel here. I'm just going to go in and clean it off real quick. Okay. Now let's go ahead, and now I can start seeing some of that copper on there. I wasn't seeing it at first. Could be my lighting in here, but we're going to stamp this up as well as we can. Okay, and then we're just going to bring it right over here, and I want to bring it probably in about like so. Remember, you're dealing with a polymer photopolymer stamp, and so you want to hold those down a little extra time. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, and I think I want to run some of these little snowflakes just down the edge, and we'll do it off the paper a little bit on one side. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, now you'll want to let that dry for a little bit, and I think on my to and from, though, I would prefer to have it a little bit brighter. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Memento ink and bring my to and from right about there. And if you wanted to add Merry Christmas or Christmas wishes or anything like that, you can go ahead and do that as well. So let's go ahead, and I'd like to round these corners on this one here. So I'm going to go in, I'll leave the top one squared, but I wanted to do the bottom ones. Remember, when using this, that you want to use your palm in the center, and it punches real nice and easy. There's no issues with that. So see, we're going to have this come in here like so, and we'll go ahead and round off the corners of our copper paper as well. Okay, now we're going to take and make our top tag, and we will just use this one for the to run through the topper. Make sure it's all the way up and bring it on out. Beautiful. Okay, let's get that in the trash. Then we'll line it up here and see if I need to. It looks like I made it a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim some of that off, which will be fine. It won't, I don't think it'll take that much off of it. There we go. It's like I said, I was kind of making this tag on the fly. And I honestly believe, I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to round these top ones too to give it some consistency on this one tag. So that way we can make it look the same all the way around. Yes, I like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere this. Let's see. And then we'll hang our tag, and we are done. But like I said, don't forget the blog candy that I'll have showing up on my blog. And be sure and leave your name and your email address, and we will have that drawing. Okay, let me get just a little bit more of this ribbon to tie around. Time to reorder. Off the empty spool now. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into the, this is like the way I like to do it. Now other people may do it a different way, so however works best for them. And I'm just going to tie a little bit of a tie there. I don't want to tie it too tight because I want to have be able to take it off and write my little greeting and maybe add Merry Christmas to it. But anyway, there is our bag and tag, and I just think it came out gorgeous. How about you? All right, well, thank you for stopping by. Again, don't forget to hit the other blogs and move on to the other Glitter Queens. They will have items that are just as gorgeous going on today as well. Thank you, and have a blessed day.